Though few of the flowers among the many that filled this sanctuary just short of a month ago remain alive, it is still Easter. In fact, the 5th Sunday of Easter, and there are 3 more Sundays in Easter to go. Admittedly, it can become a challenge at this point in the Easter season to keep the celebration alive. Indeed, to prevent it from becoming ordinary, if not stale. Yet such can be the case with our faith lives in general, because the initial zeal that we may have as disciples is capable of becoming rather routine and ordinary, unless we are also willing to make the effort to remain spiritually alive. This is indeed the advice that is being given to us in our second reading this morning from the letter of St. Peter. Be like living stones, he advises, built into a spiritual house. Yet, how do we remain living stones? How do we prevent ourselves from becoming dead wood in the household of God? An answer to this question is in fact found in that same letter of Peter. For we are advised to understand ourselves as a holy priesthood whose role it is to offer spiritual sacrifices to God. Now we are sure that St. Peter is not referring only to the ordained clergy, but he's speaking of the common priesthood that belongs to all of us who are baptized. So we should take care to try to understand what St. Peter means by spiritual sacrifices, because in this we will find a key to keeping our faith alive. Maybe a simple approach to understanding that concept of spiritual sacrifice is to recall a phrase that I'm sure many of us probably heard from our older relatives or the religious women who taught us in schools or religious education. Remember? Offer it up, huh? Indeed, whenever some small suffering had to be endured or some hardship experienced in the ordinary routine of life, we were advised by them, offer it up. Yes, instead of complaining, we were wisely advised to make something positive of that negative by offering it as a spiritual sacrifice. Maybe we would intentionally offer up our small suffering so that someone whom we knew was in greater suffering might be relieved of a bit of theirs. Maybe we would be encouraged specifically to offer it up for the souls in purgatory. While such piety may seem old-fashioned to some, it certainly deserves a second look, because the message behind it is that our lives can at all times be connected to Christ, so long as we consciously unite our small daily sacrifices and whatever other sufferings may come our way to the sacrifice and suffering of the Lord. So, when we take time that is very precious to us to make a call to someone who's alone, or we put ourselves out to be of help to someone, or to do a favor, or to ease a burden someone else is carrying, we should consciously offer it up. When we hold our tongue rather than lash out in anger, or we use our words to affirm and give encouragement, let us offer it up. When we endure injustice, disappointment, betrayal, or hurt, let us offer it up. When we go about our routine at home or at work and look for ways to serve others, to put them first, let us consciously be aware that in some small way we are also laying down our lives for others, just as Jesus laid down his life for all. So let us offer these sacrifices up. It is in this way that we can develop an increased consciousness of our ongoing discipleship in the ordinary, everyday happenings of life. It's in this way, too, that we more deeply appreciate what the late St. Mother Teresa said, that most of us are not called to do great things, but to do small ones with great love. Such a habit of mind, this increased awareness of ongoing offering, is the best antidote to falling into that dead wood state of being that's called the Sunday Catholic. The one whose religion is practiced for about an hour a week, but left in church, and they live unaware of faith's connection to the everyday. It's also a good way to enrich our understanding of what it is that we are doing here each Sunday, because the Mass is the celebration of Christ's sacrifice for sure, but isn't it also the offering of our small sacrifices from the previous week in union with his? Isn't this what we are asking at the preparation rite of each Mass, when we pray that our sacrifice will be acceptable to God the Almighty Father? Certainly, we know Christ's sacrifice on the cross is already acceptable to God. So what sacrifice, then, are we asking God to accept, if not those that are our own, done out of love in union with Christ each and every day of the week? Yet, how much more meaningful would those words be at Mass each Sunday if we become more conscious each and every day to say, Lord, I'm offering this pain, this difficulty, this inconvenience, this act of service, this effort at generosity or patience or kindness or forgiveness in union with your sacrifice. So let us make that effort then to offer spiritual sacrifices as St. Peter urges us to do, so that we will never grow stagnant in faith, but indeed form and maintain ourselves as living stones, doing the work of Jesus in our own small ways. Then in season and out, every Sunday will be as it should be, a celebration of Easter for us. Because when we are more aware of our own daily sharing in the cross, we can be all the more joyful in what we celebrate in this and every Eucharist, that paschal mystery of Christ, the mystery that assures us that dying with Christ is the necessary prelude to rising with him, and thus the sure path to eternal Easter glory with him in his Father's house.